Welcome to Rider Nation Station, presented by American Manufacturing Solutions, your total logistics partner, investing in Rider Nation Station and St. Mary's, Ohio, and to our other fine sponsors.
Welcome to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Mark, thanks for coming back again for another week.
Zach, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, this week, we were able to see on the Rider Nation station a close game between St. Mary's and Wapakoneta. Went into overtime, and fortunately, the Rough Riders were able to pull one out. This week, we've got another big game coming up here at home against Ottawa Glandorf. So really excited for us to be able to check out some of these clips to see if it's going to have any carryover into the Rough Riders game against Ottawa Glandorf.
Sounds good. Ready when you are.
First, before we started, we had a loyal viewer of Rider Nation Station send a text in and request us to look at something that they noticed during the game, which was many of the Wapakoneta coaches being what's in, I guess, what's called the restricted area.
Correct.
So hopefully we're showing right now on the film or on the screen a picture of a particular play that I was able to pull out. So I thought maybe it'd be a good chance for this first segment to just talk about the restricted area, what the rules are, why they're there, and how the officials handle that.
Great, good. Yeah, if we're looking at the film right now, or the picture, I'm counting probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folks, coaching staff, or non-players that are in that restricted area. And that restricted area runs from the sideline to 2 yards back outside, out of bounds. That area is supposed to be cleared for officials to operate in. Basically, there's not a set. It's got to be clear when the ball is live, basically when the ball is snapped. But in order to get there, they've told the coaches, they've told us, basically when the center puts his hand on the football, that area should be cleared or coaches should be leaving. And if it's not, it's a dangerous situation for the officials because you got crowded people in that box. You can run into people. And in fact, that's part of why this rule is in place, because several years ago, an official ran into an assistant coach on a sideline somewhere in Texas, I believe, and the coach was seriously injured.
Wow.
And it was on a turf field, things of that nature. And then the officials got sued. Ultimately, the court saw it the officials' way that the coach shouldn't have been in there and whatnot. But it's dangerous for officials, players, or coaches to be in that area when a play is going on.
What are the penalties for that?
Well, the first one here, the situation like this here when you have coaches standing around, the official probably should have threw the flag, and it's basically a sideline warning, which there's no yardage involved at all. It's just a signal by the referee and an admonishment by the wing official to, hey, get back into the team box. And normally, that does it. And we'll do it for both sides because both sides know that we're going to take care of business. Now, coaches sometimes are excited, players are excited, they'll come up in the team box and stand. So the next time they get flagged, it's a 5-yard penalty, all right? And if there's a third one, it's 15 yards, and it's charged to the head coach. And if there's a second, or in this case would be a fourth call, that one would also be charged to the head coach, and he would be dismissed from the game.
Wow. So it counts as a personal foul against the head coach at that point.
Basically, the second one is an unsportsmanlike conduct, sideline interference penalty, and it counts against him because he is in charge. Now, if we're running into people, different situation in that regard, that's going to be an immediate 15-yard penalty if there's contact in that box.
And in that case, if there's a second contact in the box?
Well, if there's a second one, yes. The first one is charged, let's say, an assistant. The second one would be charged to the head coach because he's not doing his job.
And it doesn't matter, I guess, where in that restricted area, down and up and down the field.
Right.
It's supposed to be the entire field because we don't know when the play could go down the whole.
Correct, because the restricted area technically runs from 25 to 25.
Okay.
All right, but we have had coaches come out of the 25 because they're excited and everything else. So, yes, it runs around the entire perimeter of the field, indeed.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good to see. I thought that was something interesting, and we noticed it a lot. It's one of those things that once you see it one time, you start noticing it all the time.
Correct.
So
yep.
We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to have some clips from the game on Friday night.
Okay.
And we're interested to hear your point of view.
Good enough.
Thanks, Mark.
American Manufacturing Solutions is proud to invest in St. Mary's and proud to sponsor Rough Rider football. Think AMS, Think logistics, done right. AMS is your complete supply chain solutions provider. Have electrical service needs? AMS can take care of that too. Call us at 419-300-1007 or visit us at americanmfgsolutions.com.
Whether your goals include college education funding, retirement planning, generating income, or reducing taxes, at Glass Daringer Investment Management, we've got you covered. Stop in and speak with Jeff Daringer or Kevin Glass at 100 West Spring Street today. Glass Daringer Investment Management. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
For all your sporting good needs, visit Albert Sporting Goods at 121 West Spring Street, serving the St. Mary's community since 1980.
Auglaize Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road or auglaizeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Auglaize Equipment Rental.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Be sure at this time, if you haven't already, to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Join us every Friday night for Rough Rider football here at Rider Nation Station. We're able to do it live this year.
Super.
We've also been able to throw in some other games, ladies and boys soccer.
Nice.
So we're very excited that we're able to throw in some live sporting events through all of Rough Rider athletics, and we're going to continue to work to getting more of those
Good deal.
as we go on this year.
Good deal.
Well, this first clip that I want to look at here, Wapakoneta was called for encroachment. So I just thought maybe we could talk about what the line judge is looking at in this particular case.
Well, they're looking right down the line of scrimmage, and if the defense lines up in the neutral zone, which is basically the length of the football, 11.5 inches or whatever it might be, and they've got their head in the neutral zone, a line, and I'm not sure which player was called, maybe the defensive back down here closest to the wing official, but that's a dead ball foul. Somebody jumped in there right away, and he stopped it. Even though the play continued, basically it's a dead ball at that point.
And that was my next question, was which line judge is supposed to call it? Can they both call it for the entire length of the field, or are they supposed to split the field
They
in half?
can. It's possible to do that. Normally what happens is we'll go from the center and work out on each side. But if it's really egregious and the other guy for some reason has his attention diverted or whatever, it's possible for either one of them to throw the flag on that play.
Yeah, it looks to me like they're probably calling on that defensive back that's lined up against the Rough Rider receiver.
It kind of looks that way from the angle of this film, but then
it could also be the other DN, though. You never know.
It could be. It could be. Yep.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go to the next clip here. There was no penalty called, but if you look at the offensive lineman here, there's some rocking before the snap.
Okay.
And I just was curious as to where's the decision made for the official as to what's considered movement or what's just kind of incidental rocking before the snap.
Well, you get into that situation, and normally when the linemen come down and they put their hands on the ground, they're frozen. Anybody inside the end player on the line of scrimmage, they're pretty much frozen. There's supposed to be no movement of hand or feet or anything that would simulate the start of a snap. Now, you're going to give allowances for a little bit of fidgeting, so to speak, if they're just kind of getting comfortable in the stance or wherever. But that's a judgment call on the official as to how much they're going to allow.
I know that usually it's the case of that. I think usually it's if it's too strong or something that would try to urge the defender to come. If it seems to be kind of the speed of the movement sometimes that makes a difference.
Sometimes that's true, and if it's something that simulates the start of a snap, you're going to get a call for a false start or something like that. Now, I've had linemen get down and they're going to wiggle their backside a little bit just trying to get comfortable, and nobody moves. Everybody's used to seeing it, and they've seen it on film that nothing happens. Now, that is that go against the rule technically? Yes, it does. But if we would call things like that the entire game, all we would get done doing is calling fouls and marching things off.
Sure.
We'd never get done. So,
I wanted to look at this next play. I thought that it looked to me like the running back may have had his face mask pulled. Just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Okay, well, we'll take a look. Sure looks like there was a hand in there.
It's really tough to see.
It is, because the guys on the wing are probably not going to see that because it's inside. The umpire, who should be standing back about 7 yards from the line of scrimmage, would have had the best look. But again, bodies and linebackers in front, it's possible that you just don't see the hand in there. It's very possible.
We've talked about this before, and it's typically it has to actually grab onto something onto the helmet. Is that correct? It can't.
You got to get your hands inside a helmet opening. That could be an ear hole. That could be under the back of the helmet, under the side, on the face mask. Just putting the hand on the helmet. And you see that once in a while. They'll put the hand on the helmet top of it and pull the head. That's not a face mask call.
Right.
So you got to get the fingers in. And there's a difference between just getting the hands inside or actually pulling and twisting. There's two different fouls there, a 5-yarder and a 15.
And I'm thinking maybe in that circumstance, maybe it just touched and it looked like it from this view.
Possibly,
but
a little tough from the camera angle.
Yeah.
We'll
give the benefit of the doubt to the men on the field.
There's 22 of them, and there's normally 5 or 6 of us, and you can't see everything that goes on.
Sure.
So.
Well, this next play was a traditional St. Mary's sweep. You see the 2 guards pull out to the left. One of the guards sort of dives as part of his block, and I just was wondering if is there anything in the rules for safety purposes against that? I think
sure sounds. Let's take a look at it.
I think it was the leading guard, the left guard here. And you can see, I think in this case he didn't get a great block on it.
It is the lead guard.
And there was no penalty called.
And there was no penalty there. I mean, I don't think the hit was below the waist here. Looking at the play, he may have been tripped up, so to speak. He starts to go at the defender, but the contact was probably at the waist, maybe a little above it, and it wasn't a traditional dive. I mean,
sure.
The offensive players now are really taught really hard not to go low on something like this.
Sure.
It occasionally happens. What you see it most of the time is. Yeah, he didn't get him there. He's good.
Yeah, we're seeing a different angle here from the end zone.
Right, and he comes out and he starts to, he just doesn't get him. He misses. What you see a lot of times, though, is a defender will step up and try to take the lead guards out low.
So just to be clear, it has to, the dive is okay as long as it's still above the waist.
As long as it's still at the waist or above, you're going to be fine there.
You can leave your feet. You can.
Yes, you can.
You can.
Sure can.
Throw as hard as you want to at that defender to block.
I think the guard there just mistimed the dive.
As long as you're staying above the waist.
Correct.
I guess. So,
correct. Yep.
Yeah, and maybe not the best form for.
Right.
You teach your guards though to try to get any kind of contact possible, because anything can trip them up for a second that lets the running back get past.
Right.
But very interesting.
Try to get into the defender and do something. Yep, I get it. Yep.
Next play here we have was the ball batted down at the line of scrimmage by the defender.
Okay.
No real calls or necessarily missed penalties, but I just thought maybe what you could talk about what the official's looking at and what that means. Is the ball instantly dead when that happens, or?
Sure. Sure. Let's take a look.
Great heads-up play by the defensive end there.
Yes, it was. I mean, he got the hand in. The ball is still live. The kids tend to give up when the ball is batted like that. It's just everybody relaxes. Now, the ball's still live until it touches the ground. And just because it changed directions doesn't make it a backward pass, because the initial direction was forward. So the ball's in the air. It could have been intercepted. It could have been caught by any player because the defense touched it and ran for a touchdown either way. A lineman could have caught that ball for Wapakoneta and advanced without penalty.
And we're seeing here another angle, just a great play.
Yeah.
But I noticed that the side judge, he does a motion like this.
Yep.
Is he supposed to do that?
Basically, it's telling the rest of the crew, look, we've got a tip ball.
Okay.
So in this case, with the defender touching it, all pass interference restrictions are gone.
Okay.
So it's a free-for-all to the football.
So if there would perhaps be a running back out in that area, and so as soon as that ball is tipped, the defender can pretty much knock down the running back or
Correct, to get to the football. I mean, as long as it's not a hold
or
a tackle on the running back, to prevent him from getting the ball, that would be a foul for holding. But yes, it's free. It's free game at that point.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. So the pass interference goes away, but not defensive holding.
Correct. That's correct. We've had a situation in the past where it was a screen pass and the ball was supposed to be caught behind the line of scrimmage by the running back. All right. So what happened was the defender come up and just wrapped up the potential receiver, and he couldn't get his arms up. It's not pass interference because the ball did not go past the line of scrimmage, but it is a holding.
Okay.
So you can't. I mean, the defender could have knocked him down.
Yeah.
At that point, but instead he chose to wrap him up, and that's a hold on the defense.
And I think we're used to seeing that. Whenever you hear a tip, you see some people get wrapped up or grabbed near the line. So
could very well be. Sure.
It's interesting.
Yep.
We're going to go ahead. In this next clip here was a punt return.
All right.
Now the punt returner did not call for a fair catch.
All right.
And he was hit real quick. And I was just wondering, are there any halos when you don't call for a fair catch?
Well, go ahead and run that thing, and we'll take a look.
And I know that you can't interfere with the catch, but I didn't know if there was any kind of halo there.
All right,
right
so
away.
there is no halo in high school. Basically, it's a judgment on whether or not the receiver had an opportunity to catch the football. And obviously, in this point, he did. Yes, he was hit really quick. And again, it's going to be a judgment. Okay, we could have probably thrown a kick-catch interference flag there, but he made it. So if something had gone wrong with the receiver, maybe he muffed it, maybe it's probably you get a better chance of getting the flag at that point because it looks bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have another angle here.
So let's take a look and see if this shows a little bit better.
I think the Wapakoneta tackler, timed it pretty well.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick. In college, that probably would have been a flag for violating the so-called halo in college. And again, if the receiver had muffed it or not cleanly caught it, you might have gotten the flag out of the back judge at that point.
I wouldn't be, I just thinking in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if the high school adopted some sort of a halo, so many safety things.
They've talked about it for off and on for years and have just never went there, probably because right now it's easy to officiate.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, was it 1 yard, is it 2, or whatever, because now you're telling us that we have to make a decision on that. And with only 5 guys on the field, it makes it tough.
And you hope most of those get taken care of with a fair catch.
Yes, that would have been the prudent thing to do at that point.
Sure.
But hey, I'm not the player or the coach here. So,
Mark, we've seen a few clips here. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at the final clips here and talk about what we're going to look forward to on Friday night with OG.
Good enough.
Thanks.
St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet. Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of fresh donuts daily, open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Walpock. Also now found in Wagner's IGA in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie. Guarneri's Pizzeria and Pub has partnered with Rider Nation Station this season so that every Friday night, Guarneri's can be Rough Rider Football Central. Guarneri's will be streaming Rough Rider football live every Friday night at 7, paired with your favorite Rider aid. Make sure to call and make your reservations now to ensure yourself a good seat. Call Guarneri's at 419-394-2244 and make your reservation today. And go Riders!
Miller Funeral Home has been serving the Rough Rider community in its time of need since the 70s. Our business is a family affair, dedicated to serving families with integrity, dignity, and compassion. Miller Funeral Home, proud to be a supporter of the Rough Rider community.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm Zach Farrell. Mark, we want to look at this next clip here. The wingback had a little bit of a head bob, so revisiting some of that pre-snap motion. I don't know why I just noticed it, but one of those things, I guess, once I start seeing it, I put the clips in here. So
sure.
Just want to take a look at the wingback on the far side of the screen here right before the snap.
Let's look at that again, if we could, please.
Just a little head bob.
Oh,
right
yeah, he
there.
brings the head up just a little bit. Again, that's that wing guy over there, or maybe the officials behind him didn't deem it enough to assume it was, to simulate the start of the snap. That would be a tough sell, truthfully, in that regard. I mean,
Sure.
We're going to look at it again and see if we can't, but I don't. It wasn't really quick. He brought it up fairly smoothly and slowly. So no, there's there's nothing there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
good,
it's just
good no call.
It's very interesting sometimes, I think, and I think as a fans, you see whenever you're rooting for your team, you see any kind of motion before the snap,
sure.
and you want something called. So
Sure.
I'm sure things like that have popped up for other people in the past.
Correct.
Mark, this next clip that we have here is a halfback pass by St. Mary's. It's become sort of a signature play that we've run the past few years. For this, I thought it was a good. Nothing was really called one way or another, and unfortunately the pass fell incomplete. But I thought it was a good opportunity to talk about the halfback pass rules
Sure.
for some of those out there that may not realize that you can do something like this. So just wanted to watch it here. So it's a handoff backwards.
Right, no problem.
We've talked about this before. If the handoff, if we would run this out of a shotgun and the handoff would be forwards, is he still able to make the pass?
Yes, because we're behind the line of scrimmage. Not a problem to hand it forward, backwards, so long as we're not beyond the line of scrimmage.
And so long as we're not pitching it forward, correct?
Well, you can. Well, as long as you're not beyond the line of scrimmage when you pitch it forward, sure. But so what you've got there, if you pitch it, you've got a forward pass.
And is a forward pass that's still behind the line of scrimmage still able to be thrown again?
No.
Okay.
So you cannot have two forward passes on a play.
Okay.
All right. So there we just handed it off, and we got no pass so far, and now we've got the number 7 has become the passer.
So as long as it's a handoff forward or backwards, and it's behind the line of scrimmage, and it stays behind the line of scrimmage, it's fine.
Yeah, you can do anything you want there. Now, the one thing that people sometimes lose sight of there, number 7 took the handoff. All right. So he's now a running back, but as soon as he lets go the football on a forward pass, he becomes a passer and is afforded all the protection that a normal quarterback or passer would have with the roughing rules and everything else. People sometimes go, well, he handed it off. He doesn't get protection. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So, there are some folks that just tell their defense, just go get him because there's nothing bad is going to happen. Not true.
I've wondered about that too, do you get the same protections? Because you'll see a lot. I think some officials allow for a little stronger hits on a running back throwing the ball.
Could be, but if you're going to call something the same hit on a traditional quarterback, then the running back who becomes a passer as soon as he lets go of it is afforded that same
It should
protection.
be called there as well.
Correct.
This next play we have was holding on Wapok.
Okay.
Wanted to take a look at it here. Just wanted to know your thoughts. I believe it's right on the end of the line of scrimmage.
Probably right there
Yep.
by that number 4.
Right.
Yeah, let's see if we can pick that up. He's right there on the corner. He has got the St. Mary's defender by the shoulder pads and won't let him go.
Right.
And the defender couldn't turn to try to get away. That's a dead giveaway for the wing guy right here. If we could run that back, though, there's something else that happened on that play that may be a little nut. So we're going to have number 4 set, and then right away we have the other wing go in motion. All right, so technically what you have here is probably an illegal shift. So everybody's got to be set for a second once number 4 comes to a stop. And clearly, there's not a second. Now, they let it go. I mean, and maybe they've been doing it the whole game, and it was close enough.
Sure.
Technically, if you put a stopwatch on that, you would not have a second between.
We've talked about that before, though. When you have 2 people in motion, that one has to be set for 1 second before the second one goes.
Correct. So, yep.
I'm glad you noticed that. That's why we bring you along here. So, this next clip was a fumbled snap on the field goal. So just wanted to talk about whether there's a live ball here. What are the rules when the snap's fumbled? It's not a blocked kick, but what would happen in that situation?
Well, I mean, he just mishandled the snap. It might have been a little high. It's possible if he feels that cleanly that he could get up with the ball and run with it.
Okay.
It's also possible if the snap was high enough that he had to rise up off the knee and come back down, he could again get back up and go with it.
Okay.
All right, but what he cannot do as a holder is flip it backwards or throw a pass forward, backwards, or wherever with his knees still on the ground.
That was my other question. It says his knees on the ground. He can get up from that point and
go,
but he can't do anything while he's on the ground.
Correct. And we've seen kids, especially in extra points, just flip the ball back to a wing back that might be running, and once that ball, if he didn't get up, the holder didn't get up, then the ball's dead right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, if he'd have flipped that ball back from that point, it would have been dead right there. Wapok probably would have pounced on it, but they would have been trying to recover a dead football at that point.
Have to stand up if you want to do anything
Correct.
with the ball at that point.
Correct. Yep.
Interesting. This next play here, I'll be honest, they called false start on Wapak, and I looked and I watched this several times, and I don't see it. So I just was maybe hoping
All right, well,
maybe you'd see something.
Let's
that
look
I
at the wing,
missed.
the split outs, the white outs first, and see if we can see. Oh, up at the top, possibly. Let's take a look at that again if we can. Probably the white out at the top of the screen.
Okay.
He may have moved just. Yep,
Oh,
he flinched.
A little flinch.
And that was enough. That was enough right there. He basically mistimed the snap.
Okay.
And it was, that was enough. And it was a good call.
Yeah,
Good call.
I'd watched it so many times, and I thought, I don't know, I didn't see it right there. But
Yep.
now that you pointed out, I can see it right away.
Good call.
So, this was a big play for St. Mary's as far as a highlight because this was a kickoff, this next clip, and St. Mary's defender absolutely kind of lit the guy up, for lack of better terms.
Okay.
But he lifted the guy off the ground a little bit, and I know that there's a threshold there where that becomes a unsportsmanlike conduct. But so I thought I just wanted to.
All right. Well, let's take a look and see what we got.
I was happy with it not being called, by the way. So we had a little bit of a bobbled snap there, which always sometimes ends up with these big hits.
Oh, good tackle. I mean, that was a good tackle there. It looks, and it's a tough one. It's rough. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But, I mean, it looks like from the kickoff team's person, he's in good form. He's got his head up. He didn't drive the top of the helmet or the front of the face mask into the defender. He tried to get to the side with his shoulder, and he just got down and came up through him. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if he'd used his helmet to drive through, now we had a better
Is there a
issue.
rule if he pulls him over backwards, like a suplex style?
Well, I mean, you gotta think about that, because if that running back was coming full speed and there was a hit and they went backwards, so to speak, some of that was caused by the running back.
Sure.
So you got to see the play on the field and judge whether or not there was, let's call, extra emphasis added to the tackle.
Sure.
In that case, he was just driving through it, doing exactly what he was taught, driving through the man and taking him to the ground.
So it's more about kind of intent, or did he have enough time did he make the decision to cause the action
Right.
of that, or was it the momentum of the whole
there was
speed?
no flag on that play, and there shouldn't have been.
Sure.
Good no call.
Good.
Yeah, good no call.
This was a play then later in the game where Wapakoneta had a pass out to their running back, a little swing pattern, and it was very close to being a backwards or a forwards pass.
Okay.
I think they probably got it right on the field. They called it a forwards pass, but I just wanted your second opinion.
Okay, let's take a look. Oh, that's tight. That's tight. Lets it go. That probably was forward, because if you look at the quarterback's feet when he lets go of the football, all right, he's probably standing at the 31, and it looks like the receiver touches the ball somewhere between the 30 and the 31. So given that, it's tight, but I'd say it's forward.
I think it was the right call. I think we can see that on the replay,
It sure looks like a right
too.
call. Yeah.
Whose job is it? Which official's job is it to determine that?
Well, the wing on the top part of the screen made the call. The guy down here at the bottom probably had a better look at it because it's going away from him and had all the play in front of him. The wing who made the call has all this action exploding in front of him, so he's got to make a decision there.
Sure.
Now, if you're unsure, you're probably going to let that go and then come back and say, okay, what did you all see? We're going to rule it backward pass and let the action play out. And then you can come back and say, all right, no, it was definitely forward. I had it back here forward. So then you can go and reset.
Sure.
If you kill it there and it was actually backward, now you got a problem.
Gotcha.
Because now you've got an inadvertent whistle that you have to deal with.
Gotcha. So if it's close, maybe you let it go. And
then a play like that, if it's that close, if in doubt, we are told that it's forward and an incomplete pass.
Okay. So the tie goes to the offense in that.
In that situation, it does.
Sure.
No cheap turnovers is
All
what
right.
they tell us.
Sure, makes sense. Well, I think they got the call right there, and
Okay.
I wanted to get your opinion.
That was a good one.
The next call we have was a holding on St. Mary's. It was on the running back. Just thought I think it was probably another right call, but I wanted your opinion on it.
Sure, let's take a look.
I think it was the wing back on the. Well, there's the penalty right there.
Number 7, maybe?
Yeah, I think number 7.
Coming out? All right, so do we have a sideline view of that by chance? All right, this might.
Yes, yeah. It actually wasn't the. I thought it was the running back leading forward, but it actually looks like it was the guard pulling out there.
All right, well, let's take a look.
54 right there.
Wow. One more time, please. All right, stop. All right, so Zach, where are we at here?
So just to the right, just right of the center, I think the
is a guard?
Guard does like a little drop step.
All right, well, let's see once here.
Maybe a 16, 17.
All right, got it.
End of number 54 there.
Got it. Wow.
54 kind of twists around.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, that's tough right at the point of attack like that, and
that's where they threw the flag. So I think that's what they were looking at.
He maybe got the arms outside the frame, and that's what they saw as the arms come out. And
it was similar to what we looked at last week with a couple. You know, it's kind of like if your defender goes one way and you push them down that way, it looks like a hold, but
yeah, that's one of those. You'd have to really see it on the field to judge it. I don't like it, but it might have been the right call.
A lot of twistingness there.
Correct.
With it. So, I believe this is the last kick, but we have just that towards the end of the game a blocked field goal here.
Okay.
So I just want to talk about what the rules are when that when that's blocked. Can the defense run it back?
Absolutely.
Back and so forth.
Absolutely. That's a live ball.
Okay.
A field goal is a live ball, unlike a try where if the ball's not going to score, it's dead. This kick, it's a field goal. It's a live football, and because the ball ended up probably right there behind the line of scrimmage, either team could have picked it up and went with it.
Okay.
So, you know, I remember this play from watching it on TV. It's right near the end of the regulation.
Sure.
So, you know, I don't think the kicker got a good kick on it, but it is a live ball, and again, as long as it ends up behind the line of scrimmage, which it did, either team could have picked it up and tried to go forward with it.
So if that's blocked at the line and it goes past the line of scrimmage,
right?
Can the defense run that back?
Yep.
Okay, no matter what?
Sure can. It's just treated like any other scrimmage kicks, just like a punt.
Like a punt, okay.
Yep, but now the offensive team couldn't come down they could cover it, but they can't keep it.
Okay.
Because it's beyond the line. So it's like a punt, basically.
If theoretically the defensive team hits it and it's still in the air and somebody on the offensive team catches it, if they're beyond the line of scrimmage, can they?
It's going to be dead.
It's dead.
It's just like a punt in that situation.
If they're behind the line of scrimmage, though,
they can
it's
go
live.
with it. Yep.
Interesting. So all that matters on those field goals is if the ball crosses the line of scrimmage for the offense. To
and where it's at when it's gotten picked up. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's St. Mary's has been kicking or trying a lot of field goals, so wouldn't be surprised. Hopefully, we don't see any more blocked ones, but that's a good thing to keep in mind when we're watching that on Friday night. So
good deal.
Before we leave, Mark, anything from your first 2 weeks of this crazy season looking for going forward, or back to normal?
It's feeling a little bit better.
Sure.
I mean, we're third week now coming up. The kids are more comfortable. Coaches are more comfortable with what's going on. There's still some confusion with the coaches on the team box.
Okay.
You know, we had one ask us this past week if it was fine if they got down to the 10-yard lines. Well, no, it's not. Coaches have to stay within the 25-yard line restrictions. Kids can go to the 10. And things of that nature. So, of course, we heard the story of, well, they let us do it last week. Well,
sure.
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't,
sure.
But I had no reason to doubt the coach. So, really and truthfully, so far, it's getting better. It's still not quite the electric atmosphere that you have with a full house or something like that. But we're playing, and that's what's important.
Absolutely, and the kids are able to enjoy their seasons.
Correct.
And that's really what matters in all of this. So, well, thank you again for joining me, Mark.
Pleasure.
We'll be back next week, and look forward to the game here Friday night. Keep in mind, these Rider Nation Station Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco are aired every Friday night at 6 p.m. before the football game. And we'll look forward to back next week with hopefully some winning highlights of the OG game.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.